Okay, so if you're watching this video, it's because you're interested in purchasing two items that I have for sale. One of them is a DRZ 400 SM engine, and the other is 39mm FCR carb. I'll show you the carb first. This is the carburetor here, and this is in a custom-made super mono chassis. So basically the carb is set up to work with any DRZ 400 engine you could possibly use. While it isn't the thumper talk FCR, it's from a YZF 427 I believe, but it works identically and actually quite well. This foam filter isn't included. This is the carb here, and I wanted to post a video because I want to show both for the engine and the carb's sake how well the engine runs and how well the carb works. So obviously it's got the hot start button, it's got the choke here, and this is just a line I made to work with my custom fuel tank application and that sort of thing to the carb. So it's just basically as I took it off the track this weekend. I've just got a little petcock here that I'll turn to get the flow of fuel. So this is the DRZ 400 engine. You can only see part of it because this is a oil tank that I had made for it here. Obviously, if you're putting this into a DRZ 400, you've got the oil tank in the frame, custom radiator that I had made. These are oil lines here that, of course, you've got your own if you're replacing a DRZ engine that work for it. Included is this countershaft sprocket. It's 15. I'll also throw in a 16 to go with it. This is a shifter linkage that, again, you're not going to need for your project unless, of course, you're building your own super mono racer. I'll just go around to the other side. It's custom exhaust system too. This has all the electrical gubbins bolted to the side of the frame, which again, all of this stuff is going to be included except for the battery. It has been cut up a bit for road racing application because obviously I don't need the signals and that sort of thing, but I'll include it just because you might need to be replacing some components that don't work. Obviously it's well taken care of. I've always used synthetic oil since I've had it. Safety wired filter. I'll throw in a couple of spare filters as well, and basically it's in excellent shape. This has been JB welded here, but it had a slight leak and I've raced it for an entire season, and there's no leaks whatsoever. I need to tell you that the cylinder head, which you can't see because of all this other stuff in here, it has RHC valves, RHC springs, and a hot cams stage 1 cams, both for the intake and exhaust. And this was all installed and set up by Sincero Speedworks, which is the place for DRZ parts. The cylinder displacement is stock. It's still a 400. It's got new rings, and the stock cylinder, it's got less than 10 hours on the engine because it's a road racer. It just doesn't get the same sort of hours as it would if it was like a daily driver or enduro bike or whatever. So it's bolted into the frame, as appropriately. No cracks, no nothing. There's no oil leaks or anything. It's also got a manual cam chain tensioner here that will be included with the bike as well, and if you know DRZs, that's a good mod to put in. I've got a digital water temp gauge here that I left on. Oops, should have turned that off. You can barely see it. It's now reading in Fahrenheit. I might need to replace the battery. It says 92.4 Fahrenheit, so the engine is cold. Haven't started it in over 24 hours. This is me putting the hand on the exhaust pipe. It is dead cold. Alright, now you'll see how well this thing starts. So I've got the button on to start it. No choke required whatsoever. Fuel is on. That's how well set up the carb is. So if you're interested in just the carb, it's set up and ready to go for a DRZ. If you're interested in the engine, I'll show you that it obviously starts well and there's no smoke. So obviously starts on the button. That's the custom exhaust system that I had made based on the Yoshimura 1 and 2 design. Actually CRF 250 exhaust. You can hear the float slide click a bit there in the carburetor, but that's normal. So basically it sets into a nice idle. No white smoke. And I think you can probably see the digital gauge slowly start to creep up as the thermostat kicks in and takes over. Now obviously if you put your own pipe in this thing, it's going to sound a lot differently. But it's been an absolute bulletproof engine. It's in great shape. Got a bit of a bark to it, but with that headwork, it's been absolutely perfect in terms of how we set it up. I'm just going to shut it off. And yeah, that's it. So it's an excellent engine in terms of its quality and its durability, and it's in excellent shape altogether, and the carb is, as you can see, set up perfectly. It's very rare that an FCR will start with no choke and not even needing to prime the throttle to get it to start. So that's it. If you're interested, follow the information on the original posts, and you're going to get yourself a fine piece of hardware.